Hi there, yogis. Megan here with Yoga with Megan, and this week I want you to get started in a simple seat. So you're just going to sit on the floor, crisscross applesauce, or with a block underneath you, and just settle in here. And if you tend to always maybe have your right leg crossed in the front, I want you to tuck it to the inside and let your hips reset in a different way. So we've been kind of having yoga classes that are inspired by my travels, and I decided to take a break from that this week, and we are going to focus on yoga that will help with knee pain and help heal a knee. So this practice is specifically for Emily, and I'm happy to get to help offer it. If you have a yoga strap or a belt or yoga blocks, go ahead and grab those now. I know we're already in easy seat, but we're going to take a few moments of breath here so you have a moment to grab the things you need. Take a big full inhale here. And then go ahead and let it wash out. Just one more, just like that. Big full inhale. Exhale, let it wash. So the first part of the practice is going to be stretches that help the muscles that support the knee. And then we'll get into a bit of a flow that is knee friendly. So coming onto your back, grab your block. We're going to take a bridge pose, Tadasana, but I want you to do it with the block between your knees. So this is just to help start activating that group of muscles, the hamstrings, and really getting them lined up. So block between the knees, you choose the distance, roll up, and breathe. And come back down. Try not to drop the block. So the goal here, right, is to start strengthening and bringing awareness to that. So typically, if we have pain in the body, we are compensating for it somewhere else. Like maybe we're not strong enough in one muscle, or maybe we're too strong on the other side. So we just want to start working on equanimity. So roll back up, squeezing the block together. And roll back down, right? So we're not going biggest, best, highest. We're just rolling up to really activate, like I said, near the knee. It's not about getting the best back bend of your life here. One more time, roll up. And roll back down. Go ahead and remove your block, put it to the side, and come to a happy baby. So happy baby can sometimes put too much pressure on the knees. So if this is not completely and easily comfortable to grab your feet, don't even try that. Just work from the inner thigh. One more breath. And then release, lay flat. Arms overhead for like a good morning stretch. And then we're going to take banana pose. So I want you to just start moving your hands and your feet to the left side of your mat. So you're getting an opening across the right side of your body, right? And banana pose is just that, like your body is going to look like a banana on the floor. And this, a lot of times I feel it in my hip and my IT band. And so when those areas are tight, right, they start to pull everything up, and that can pull on the knee, pulling it out of alignment. If you need to cross one ankle over the other or grab your right wrist to kind of pull and stretch the body, do that. And this is a really good stretch to do for a prolonged amount of time. We don't have that much time in today's practice, but if you could do this for like 3 to 5 minutes on each side, That's an awesome, gentle opening for the body. Now, unclasp if you have, come back to center, pause a moment, become aware of the difference on each side, and then the other way. So same thing, take a moment here, get set up, and then pull and clasp if that's helpful. One more breath. Clasping, pulling if you need to, and then release back to center. Now grab that block or strap, whatever it is you have, or pardon me, belt or strap, whatever it is you have handy. I want you to bring both knees into your chest, grab your strap, wrap it around the ball of your right foot. Like, I want you to lift your right leg up, but don't just jam your foot up, right? And then lock out the knee. I want a gentle opening here and become aware, right? Notice the tension. Where do you start to feel like, ooh, oh, my hamstring is awake? And then maybe you go 10% past that to start. Now, if you're super tight, you're just gonna place your left foot flat on the ground. And so your left knee is bent and you're working on extending your right leg up. If you're not super tight and maybe today's your day, you can extend your left leg out flat, but we really want to make sure that both hips are anchored on the ground. And then I want you to do just a gentle pressing into that right leg. So you're going to straighten a little bit more and then bend. Just straighten a little bit more and then bend. And do that a few times, right? So we're really working here on activating the hamstrings and the quads. Again, letting them open up and wake up. And then sometimes our pain in general, but knee pain is just like a muscle kind of is tweaked. So if we can activate all the muscles, it'll help relieve that one. And a few more times, bending and straightening. And then release both knees into the chest. Switch your strap to your left. Start with a soft baby, gentle opening on your left. And then press your right foot down or extend it out straight. Really breathe into the hamstrings here. So with every exhale, I kind of, in my body, I focus on pressing the backside of my body down. And then you're just lengthening, right? So that's where I send my attention to help lengthen. That way it's not about straightening my knee. Now do that same thing where you're pressing through and bending and pressing through and bending. Back and forth. And then go ahead, bring both knees into the chest. Come to a fetal position on your right side. Just kind of roll over. Make your way up to seated. And take a downward facing dog here. Very gentle. So lots of water behind the knees. And if you need to put blocks under both hands to help release some of that hamstring tension, just do that. Right? When we're working on rehabilitating, there's a difference in coming to the edge and then jumping over and continuing to stay injured. I learned that after I broke my foot. I just kept thinking I could walk my way through the pain. Nope. All right, stepping your feet to your hands for a ragdoll. Place the block between your legs. If you've had my class before, you know sometimes that this can be torture, but we're not doing that today. Today is about rehabbing a knee. And you get to pick the distance, right, with your block, but really the goal is to keep the hip width distance, even though you have the block. So you decide what you need. Your goal here is to not drop the block. So I want you to roll all the way up to standing, keeping that block squeezing between your thighs, Tadasana. So again, right, it's about the activation. Inhale, reach up, and then exhale, take a little side body twist here. You can grab your wrist if you'd like. Just getting into that side body again. So this is like banana asana that we did a minute on the floor, and now here we are doing it standing. And come back to center, and other side. Really squeezing your block into your center line. And come back. And then forward fold, just kind of melt down like butter. Same thing with your block, you're squeezing it, you're activating that center line of the body. Inhale, halfway lift, don't drop your block. Pressing your tailbone back. And then remove your block and step back to down dog. And then grab your block and put it back between your thighs. Now, if your knees are super healthy and you want the challenge of jumping back with the block, rock that out. But if they're not super healthy, we don't want to start moving in a reckless way and make the injury worse. Really squeeze everything into your center line. Now you can remove the block and step your right leg forward for warrior one. So we really want to focus here on alignment. So you want your right leg to go right between your hands, staying centered on that right hip. And then as you place your foot down, notice what your knee does. Does it start to cave in? Does it start to, really extend out? And I want your focus here on this front knee. So really getting it perfectly lined up with the toes. So your toes and your knee are facing the exact same direction, and then so is your hip. And then bring your attention to your back foot. If you have really tight hips, step wide. And the thought process here with that back foot especially is to lift the inner arch of the foot. So you're pressing through that outside blade. And you can keep your hands on your hips here, right? Because we're working on the knee, the focus is not what's happening above the waist currently. One more breath, slow and steady wins this race. And then gently open to warrior two. Again, look at your right knee. Is it collapsing in as you open out? That's a clue, right? Everything's just a conversation. It's an indicator. So in your warrior two, become really aware. Is your knee over your ankle? Are your right toes and right knee facing the same direction? And then looking at your left leg, make sure that your left toes are facing perfectly out, right? So they're straight for going the opposite way. And then breathe. Step back to your down dog, grab your block, put it between your thighs. So coming back to that center line. Now, you can keep your block between your legs or not, but come to your ragdoll. If you moved it to move forward, put the block back between your legs. Inhale, rise all the way up for Tadasana. Press your palms overhead so they're touching. You're squeezing everything in. You've got the block between your legs. Everything is zipping up. And then forward fold down. Halfway lift. And then your choice here, again, to move the block or not, to step to your downward facing dog. And then bring the block back in, right? So if you move it, you just put it back. One more breath. Remove your block. Left leg forward, warrior one. So same thing as the other side. becoming really aware of what your front knee is doing to get into the pose. And then once you feel as though you've settled. And as you begin to heal or feel stronger in your body, it will become like an automatic response, right? Like fix the feet, fix the ankles, fix the knees, fix the hips, right? Like you just kind of come up. It's like a little checklist. Do, 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 do. But sometimes we don't even realize we have holding patterns that are not healthy for us, both in the body and in our emotional and spiritual lives. Open to warrior two. So really be aware. Is your knee pulling out so that way you are lined up? And if it's not, just step a little wider. And always, right, you can put a block under your hands to help you kind of figure out the legs, right? So you can kind of lean forward and figure out, ooh, do I need to sink into my hip here? What do I need to do? And step into downward facing dog. Block between the thighs. Shift forward into high push-up with the block. So this is pretty much like Tadasana, right? Just flipped to another dimension. You're just going to hold this, zipping everything up. One more breath. Downward facing dog. Remove the block. Step through for a low lunge. Again, if your knees are really sensitive, put a blanket under your knee. Pick a leg. We're doing both. And I really want you to work on opening the psoas here. So whichever leg is in front is not the focus. It's the back leg, the front hip of the back leg. So play with it, right? Like push forward, opening the psoas, and then kind of release back. I love blocks under my hands here. And if this pose is really accessible for you, you can actually like scoot to the wall and take your back knee close to the wall to really open up the quads. I don't need to do that because this is plenty, but you know your body. Yeah, so easing in and out, and then maybe you kind of wiggle one side to the other. And the hope here is that the back knee is not getting crunched around. So maybe you get more on the top of the thigh where the knee meets the thigh. And then step back to your down dog and step your other leg through. So same thing, it's just a low lunge here with that back knee on the ground, pressing your hips forward, back, little side to side. Breathing helps. Stepping back through for downward facing dog. Drop onto your knees. Bring your legs around in front. Flex your feet. Bend your knees like 50%. Take a forward fold here with bent knees. So this is essentially like a seated ragdoll. One more breath. And then roll back for Savasana. Take a moment here to wiggle, right? Move your hair, fix your shirt. Then I want your focus to be every exhale, you're exhaling out pain and tension and negativity. Every inhale, you're breathing in joy and health and vitality. And so I literally imagine that like black tar is leaving through my feet, and this white glowing light is entering through my head. So you're just inviting all of the pain that's been in your physical body to leave, acknowledging it, thanking it, right? It's been sending you messages. You're just letting it know the message has been received. I know I need to focus on my knees. Thank you, pain. And then breathing in that healing light. And as always, I will bring you back when it's time. Come back into your body. Bring both knees into your chest. And take a moment while they're right here and you can see them to thank your knees for carrying the weight of your body, for acknowledging the tension of your hips. And then just roll to either side for a fetal position. I heard once someone say that the knees are the stepsister of the body. They get forgotten a lot. They're so important. Come up to seated, crisscross applesauce. Same thing as before. If your habit is to always put the right in front, go ahead and bring the right in and let the left be in front, or vice versa. Bring your hands towards your chest and begin to just rub them, creating a lot of friction, some heat. Rub them really fast, and then place them palms down on your knees. Sitting up nice and straight. Go ahead and keep your hands on your knees. And the place in me where healing abides acknowledges the place in each of you where healing abides. And together we say, Namaste. Thank y'all. Have a great day full of healthy, happy knees.